Okay then. First things first. I know. Like, I get it. I've seen me. I live in the world. I get it. Sometimes I'll be like in IKEA or an aquarium. Someone will be staring at me and I'm like, I know, right? Crazy. Here we both are. I would wonder what I was too. So, let's get that out of the way. My name is Delta. Yes, I chose it because that's a thing you can just do. You don't have to wait till you're like on the run from the cops or you're getting divorced. You can just go down and do it. They don't charge by the letter or anything, so you can go absolutely hog wild. The only thing you can't change your name to are like Hitler or the M word. But you know, maybe you should be able to. Maybe if you think it's a good idea to be named Hitler N word, we should all know about that. And then we can respond accordingly. Because you can't hide who you are. I should know. I tried. I wore khakis. I know. Me. But yeah, I'm out now, so never have to wear pleated trousers ever again. And you can't make me, by law. But out, I hear you say? Out? Out as what? You don't have to come out if you're a cis woman. I suppose I'm out to the extent that I'm a solid object and you can see me. But like, out as what? I mean, am I trans? Did you just assume? Is that what you're assuming? Can't assume. Did you just assume? Are you assuming that I'm trans? Are you assuming things about me? Are you assuming things? Because we do not like that. And we will get you fired. Because that's what it's all been about. That's the long game in all this. Getting you fired from your job and then making you change the signs on all the toilets on your way out. I mean, it's not about that. But there is enough of that where you feel like you're getting your money's worth. People are running scared. People are running scared. People are on eggshells. I can see it. Everyone's been reading the news or on Twitter. Everyone thinks trans people are just constantly patrolling up and down, waiting for someone to misuse a pronoun so we can shake a can of pennies at you. Make you go to an HR seminar on a match day. It's not what it's about. I promise. We're too busy. I'm telling you, we're just too busy for that. That's not what we're doing. Do you know how much extra stuff I've had to learn? I was doing eyebrow tutorials today. Eyebrow tutorials. I've had eyebrows for 30 years. They never needed instructions before. They went up and they went down. That was it. All right, we're busy. Nobody is transitioning so they can tell you off. Or to sneak into toilets. What the fuck are you on about? What do you think happens in toilets? Do you think people are sneaking into the toilets? Do you think people are going through all this trouble so that they can maybe catch sight of what? A fanny in a toilet? What do you think happens in toilets? Do you think there's just fannies just in the wind? Do you think women get in the bathroom and just show their fannies to all the other women? They've got some agreement where they're just going to do that with each other. And me and my evil cohort have decided that we're just going to change our entire physiology so we can be part of that ritual. No, no one's doing it for that. That's stupid. You're obsessed with the toilets. Here's my idea. Here's my opinion on what we do with the toilets. Why don't we just make them non-gendered rooms? Like, what are they called? All of the other rooms. Like, I don't show you around my crib. Like, okay, so this is the woman's bedroom. That's the man's bathroom. This is the non-binary library. And this cupboard here is just for old women. I don't know, guys. We put a man on the moon. Can't we just pee and poo in a private cube? How's it more complicated than that? So yeah, no one's transitioning so they can sneak into the bathroom. Or be good at sports. Jesus, I'm only really doing it so boys stop asking me to kick a ball back if it rolls anywhere near me. But nonetheless, people are on eggshells. Nobody asks me nothing about nothing. I mean, it's possible they don't give a shit. Which would be fair. But I feel like when I see my friends and they're like, I've moved department at work. I don't have a new office, but my chair is on the other side of the room. I'm like, okay, bitch, dish. Tell me everything about this chair. What have we got going on? Is it reclinable, ergonomic? What kind of armrest situation we got going on? You got a cup holder in that thing? Can you lean that shit back? Tell me everything. And then it's my turn to talk and I'm like, hey guys, I'm a girl now. And everyone's like, yeah, rad. Have you tried these figs? These figs are off the chain. I'm like, no one cares that much about figs, Denise. Can't you see it becoming a woman before your very eyes? So yeah, I haven't really talked about it to anyone. Like, people know I'm transitioning sort of broadly, But to what? The eternal question. I'm one of those people, I don't have a binary gender. I just don't. I just reject the idea that there are only two kinds of people, plain and simply. So I suppose I'm broadly what you would call a non-binary transfem. It's kind of a feminine them. I'm feminine. I use she, they pronouns, which sounds complicated, but all it really means is that, like, ideologically I'm a they, them, but your dad calls me she, her. And so even though I'm transitioning hormonally, what you might call a male to female, my personal gender expression is so fluid as to sort of defy categorization for any meaningful length of time. It's going to sound pretentious, but I think I'm in the process of resisting the external pressure to be any one thing all of the time. So, to all intents and purposes, I'm neither fish nor fowl. If that sounds confusing, just imagine I'm a person and then stop. Okay. I'm also a pansexual poly-side verse switch, if you must know. Why is this any of your business? It's probably not. What do any of those words mean to you? Probably nothing. They certainly don't describe any, lived experience. All I know is that when everyone thought I was a boy, they were like, you're too girly. And I'm a girl. And everyone's like, but you're a man. And they're the same people. So, like, that was never a complaint before. No one was ever like, you're too masculine. Like, no one had ever said that to me before. Nor should they. Honestly, I feel like Bugs Bunny most of the time. So they're thin and grey, and they got a big butt, and I'm either naked and eating something, or I'm wearing some sort of costume because the situation demands it. Boy bunny, girl bunny, opera singer, bullfighter, hairdresser, genie. What do you need me to be? What will pay my rent this month? Then great news, I am that. It's all costume to me, all of it. It's just ornaments. Like, when I think about my teens and my 20s, I was just this nervous little Christmas tree just running around parties and people were just sticking stuff to me. Like, yes, I see that you are vaguely the shape of a man from Liverpool, so therefore you like football. Cut to 1,000 conversations with feckless jug-eared boys about football. Football! Ugh, football, the word itself is ashes in my mouth. When I would get, daycared off with all of the other boyfriends, they'd always say, well, I've never met a Scouser. Doesn't like football. I'm like, no way, Paul, because I've met 50 of you today. So, are you a red or a blue? It's not my hobby, Darren. It's not my hobby. It's not my hobby. It's not my hobby. It's just not my hobby. Stop talking to me like I didn't already tell you that it's not my hobby. Gareth. Girls are all over there dancing, having a great time. Over here listening to stats. It's just not my hobby. We just have different interests. I can't just be chilling with the boys and be like, oh yeah, bro, it's begonia season. I'm going to press so many of them in the pages of my book about trauma. I can't expect everyone to just hang with my shit, And I don't expect that of people. Sports boys. They're just nerds who don't know that they're nerds because what they like is popular. Football is just Warhammer for people whose favourite song is Closing Time. There. I said it. Someone had to. Anyway, what the fuck was I talking about? Yeah, I get it. We assign people roles based on the information we have at hand. People would see me and they go, yes, we see you have a girlfriend. And that makes you a heterosexual man. And I said, sure. This kept happening to me. I just kept letting myself get pushed into this identity, this relationship, that job, these ill-fitting roles that I didn't want any part of to begin with. Kids and a mortgage, fuck off. Your reality gets funneled while you're not looking. And before you know it, it's so cramped that you end up resenting the people who are getting to live outside of it. And I started to see that I was doing that. And so I decided to start participating in it, Well, I say I decided. time to sin, brother. So, I would love to tell you that I decided to transition after a climactic come to gay Jesus moment. That like I read Judith Butler and it unlocked my hidden queer power. Or that I fell in love with another cowboy on the ranch and he taught me what it was to be a woman. But no. Look, there's no pretty way to say this. One day I was just like a guy and then I put on some lingerie and it changed the course of my life. Wait, okay? I know what you're thinking and it's not as bad as it sounds. You need some very, very important context. I was bored. I was bored because I quit my job. I quit my job because it put me in the hospital. Well, I put me in the hospital. I wanted to kill myself, so I committed myself. But then what? I was at home. I quit drinking. Started focusing on my mental health and reading, exercising, keto diet, therapy, lots of water, early nights. So I got really bored. I'd been socialised male, right? So my only recourse to like alleviating stress and killing time was to, to masturbate. So I did that, and I was like, yeah, I get that. It's getting a little repetitive. Could use a little seasoning, So I had a little dig through that box, which we all have, with all of your kinky shit in it. I was like, there we go, stockings. Never tried that before. It's Tuesday lunchtime. I got nowhere to be. In for a penny. Didn't do much for me, to be honest with you. So I kept digging. Some lingerie, little black pussycat wig, bit of crusty mascara. I figured, if you're going to jump in the pool, let's touch the bottom. And then I saw myself. Hairy legs and all. Bit fat. Big fuzzy beard, crusty makeup on. And now I cannot stress to you, in words of any earthly language, how deeply unaroused this made me. But I looked kind of nice. Kind of. I hadn't really been able to conceptualise any of this as like anything other than a sort of pursuit of a new kink or a fetish. So this was all really surprising to me. I had no mental framework to sort of understand what I was doing or why I was doing it. But nonetheless, here I was. Exploring femininity simply must be a forbidden, aberrant, deviant act. Except it wasn't, and it's not. I just looked at myself like, holy shit. There I am. Or there I was, anyway. Once. Suddenly, I was remembering when I was this androgynous young twink, all like skinny and chatty and emotional. Absolutely uncomfortable in my femininity and my queerness. Terrified to show it and feeling stifled by my environment. But looking back, it was just pouring out of me. Like, I would get gay bashed when I was holding my girlfriend's hand. Like, it was apparent. Apparent to everyone but me, anyway. Looking back, there are loads of obvious signs. Obvious things like, having long hair when I was younger, painting my nails, allowing my girlfriends to put makeup on me, straighten my hair, we'll just try this on. And other stuff like how my male friends would look at me when they asked me how I was and I told them how I felt. When we would get separated into groups of boys and girls, I would just disappear. All the guys would go out on like big muddy bike rides and I'd be chilling with all the mums and the aunts, just icing cakes, just like, this Joan sure sounds like a real character. One time I was talking to someone about trans people and I sort of derisively said, well, yeah, if it was that easy to change your gender, we'd all do it. And they were like, no, we wouldn't. But I had no language for any of these feelings. So it just became easier to hide. I'd gravitate to queer people and queer spaces, and then I'd get scared and I would retreat. And often with good cause. My inherent strangeness made me a target when I was younger. Getting physically attacked was just the reality. Like, check it, look. It goes a little bit this way. That's how far my nose goes on that side. It goes all the way. Look at that. Isn't that weird? This is going on the Patreon.
Is this because someone broke your nose?
It's because someone broke my nose. Being bisexual or non-binary weren't things when I was growing up. At least not something you came out as anyway. You were either a man or a woman, gay or straight. So over time, performing as a straight man kept me safe. Until it put me in the hospital. So, not to get all Proustian, but this fucking stocking had catapulted me back in time. Like there was some biographical thread that had been severed a really long time ago, and now I'd finally found the other end, and maybe I could reconnect them. So I did what all good fledgling cross-dressers do, and I hid all my shit and I waited pensively for my partner to get home. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. Again, nowhere near ready to understand what was happening. Over the next few days, every time I could steal a moment alone, I was cross-dressing. Apologies here, by the way, to my trans siblings for my repeated use of the word cross-dressing. I'm trying to evoke how I felt at the time, not conflate the two things. Besides, you know what they say. What's the difference between a cross-dresser and a trans woman? About 18 months. So, I'm trying on all my partner's tiny little clothes, stretching them out. I bought some shit off the internet, shoplifted a bunch of makeup, just trying to dig deeper into what the hell is going on here. Again, I cannot stress enough how deeply unarousing all of this was. Please, if you only take one thing away from this, let it be that. No. This was not sexual. This was a deeper, darker madness. Now I'm just a little scientist. I'm looking at my leg in a stocking and I'm saying, literally, what is the big deal with these things? Why did I waste so many girls' time trying to see them in them? I've got legs right here. I could have saved us all the hassle. I remember being in Urban Outfitters years ago with one of my ex-girlfriends, and I saw this mannequin. It was wearing a little dungaree dress, a little ribbed sweater, tights, had its hair tied up in a bandana, and little boots on, right? I was transfixed. I was like, you need to buy all of these things. And she said, I don't think any of that would suit me. And I said, fine. But what I really meant was, how do we get all of these things to come home with me? Now, if I'd have known better at the time, I could have simply bought that shit, put it on in the privacy of my own home, and then left everyone else out of it. So that is what I was now doing. In private, in secret, and in shame. Shame! Shame! But I didn't want to feel that way anymore. So, I made up my mind, and I came out to my partner. I don't remember what I came out as exactly at the time, but I needed to confess, finally, to someone. I grew up in a house full of secrets, and I know the damage that they can cause when they're left unchecked. Because, you know, men like sheds. Dads have sheds. A place where men can go and be alone and do whatever weird shit they want to do. You know, sometimes it's building model railways, sometimes it's fantasy football, and sometimes, not often, but sometimes, it's collecting human femurs. So I figured, just to be on the safe side, let's not get in the habit. Yes. Oh, God. God, no wonder nuns are always fucking miserable. So I told my partner, I'm this. And it was fine. It was weird for a little while, and then it was cool, and then it was great. And then they came out, and it was fucking awesome. They gave me the space to grow, and to change, and to get as weird as I truly am for as long as it took. And for that, I will be eternally grateful. And then it's New Year, 2019. I'm working in a cool bookshop. I'm reading. I'm learning. Everything's coming up Millhouse. And on the side, I've started monetizing the chasers. I figured horny boys are a renewable resource. Green energy. Chasers are an ecological constant, like the wind. And I think at a certain point, a lot of trans people are like, I need to start getting paid to read my DMs. So I merely harnessed it for fun and profit. One must pay a tithe. I'm identifying as gender fluid, and a few close people know, but I'm still presenting male 99.9% of the time. We've been invited to a New Year's Eve party, and I'm sitting anxiously looking at a grey suit and a little black dress. A binary choice. Am I going to be a boy or a girl tonight? I freak out, I wear the stupid suit jacket, we go to the party, and I do my best impression of the man I think I'm supposed to be. We find, as we always do, the people with drugs. One of them is a trans woman who inside had seemingly been the absolute life of the party. The other is what we now know commonly as a TERF. My first TERF. Do you ever really forget your first TERF? So the two of them are playfully arguing about gender. And you know how this argument goes. It's the same one you had. It's a demon! It's a demon! Ah! Be gone, devil. So the two of them are playfully arguing about gender. And you know how this argument goes. It's the exact same one that you had on the internet today. Oh, she was bloody Australian. Crikey. Crikey, shrimp on the barbie. So you're saying... Australian. Okay, so you think that men should be allowed in women's spaces? Allowed? No. I think they should be mandatory. I was instantly like, I gotta get to know this bitch. She was having none of it. It starts turning a little bit nasty, and I chime in because I'm a man, and that's what you're supposed to do when women are talking. I was like, this party's passing the Bechdel test. I gotta go fix that. I asked the TERF to just cool it a little. Like, fun is fun, but it was New Year's, you know? Let's just chill. We just met. Let's be friends. She looks at my partner and I open down. Why do you care? I can do the accent now. Should I do the accent?
Why not? Fuck it.
Why do you care? You're a straight couple. What, are you non-binary or something? Getting there. Struth, why do you care? You fair dinkum. Why do you care anyway? You're a straight couple. What? Are you non-binary? She scoffs. Now, even when I was closeted, I hated being derisively referred to as straight. Assumed straight. But now, it was like Marty McFly being called a chicken. No, I mutter. I'm gender fluid. The TERF scoffs, but Madeline's ears have pricked up. I get my phone out and I find a picture that my partner had taken of me, wearing the little black dress, giant red hair, and smiling, just beaming. The TERF rolls her eyes, starts laughing. Madeline asks to see the picture, while the TERF's going off about being a classical liberal who's merely appealing to reason. Madeline looks at the picture, looks back at me, looks back at the picture. She hands me my phone, smiling, and says, "You really shine here." Shine here. Never forget those words. If you're even remotely femme and you've ever left your house or gone on the internet, you've been told a lot of things about yourself by a lot of people, completely unbidden. One of the things I always get is, "Oh, you look so sexy all dressed up." And I'm like, I'm not all dressed up. These are just my clothes. But here I was, being told that I shined by undoubtedly the shiniest person at this party. She saw me. Anyway, we made plans to hang out in the new year, and the next day I'd pretty much decided that I was going to have to come out. Being seen is a really powerful thing. And besides, at this point, it wasn't even that I was so much doing things to try and be feminine, as I was just learning to let go of all of the ways in which I acted masculine. I was just learning to relax into myself. I felt like I was opening up to the world and the world was opening up to me. And I decided it was time to come out in March of 2020. Okay, so I don't know how many of you are news junkies, but due to something called the novel coronavirus, it turns out that March 2020 was not, in fact, the most happening time for a gal to come out. Hard to come out when you can't, go out. So we did what we all did. I got even fucking weirder.
Now, it's not even about gender. I think like a lot of us, I just looked at my life and I was like, so if I don't have to be this thing, then does that by extension mean that I could be literally anything else that I want to be? Or even better, maybe I don't have to be anything at all. I could just simply be. Are you still waiting for the part where I come out to everyone, by the way? Yeah, me too. I thought coming out would just be one thing, you know? CC all. I'm gay. But it's not that at all. You know, I told one person, then I told a couple more. These people saw a picture of me on Instagram. That person heard I changed my name. This person accidentally outed me. In fact, it's not even that I came out per se. I think I just became something that I couldn't hide from people anymore. So I have to come out again and again every time I leave my house to everyone I encounter. Some days I wake up and I'm like, oh fuck, I don't want to be trans today. At least not so visibly fucking trans, you know? Some days I miss being unobserved, anonymous, the discretion of a closeted life. But I can't put the genie back in the bottle. None of us can. Trust me, I only do things that make my life easier. If it was possible for me to just be normal, I think I might. But no. This is me now. At least for now. Maybe I'll change again. I hope I do. Being alive asks the question, who are you? Being trans asks the question, no, but who are you really? And it's a difficult question. I get it. It's confrontational. I used to think trans people were just like men who thought they were women, or vice versa. Simple, right? And while I don't think I disliked trans people, I think secretly I found the whole thing a little bit distasteful. I found that level of active participation in your own self-image to be absolutely scandalous. Like, how dare you attempt so flagrantly to be the person you want to be, and in front of everyone no less, in public where people might see you? I think I felt like the concessions that gender non-conforming people asked of us were a sort of moral imposition on me. Like I was being invited to join them in the realm of fantasy, or remain steadfastly on the side of reason. But I don't feel like that now. I get it. I mean, obviously I get it. Look at me, fucking hell. Whenever someone says, how dare that person do that? The unspoken part of that sentence is, when I can't. I think I was fundamentally jealous of who these people were getting to be, when I felt like I had to be the thing that I was. I don't feel that way anymore. I don't have to be this person. I get to be this person. And no, I'm not a man who thinks he's a woman. Nor am I a woman in any way that I feel like justifying to you. Legally, biologically, academically, or so you can fill in my information on a form. I am instead a person who thinks that when someone tells you that there are two kinds of people, that they are fundamentally different from one another, and thus should be kept separate, they are wrong. If someone's telling you that your only options are Coke or Pepsi, check that they're not trying to deprive you of water. So this all might seem confusing, like there's a million new genders and sexualities and pronouns, but absolutely none of it is to confuse you. Quite the opposite. I'm not trying to hide anything from you. I'm trying to show you who I am. I'm saying, I'm this, here to exert my tiny little influence on reality. A living reminder that there are always more than two kinds of anything. And my attempt might seem crude to you, but it is honest. If this is the world that I have to live in, then this is the person I choose to be in it. There. Am I out enough yet?